whiteness is a lie. It's a straight up lie. It's a long held power. I mean, it's largely about power. Whiteness is evil. It dehumanizes people. It dehumanizes me. It's just not dehumanizing. It dehumanizes me. This thing. That's all. It's me choosing my comfort over others. It's ignorance. It's a constructed system to obtain power and dominance. And largely, I feel like our government has done that for hundreds of years to remain in power. It strips others of honor, of safety, power, and recognition.
And it's just a testimony that anybody, anywhere, some people ask me, is this course just like for white liberals? And it's like, no, anybody, anywhere of any age. I've seen transformative impact of this on 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, people of all different backgrounds from all over. I'm sure you have as well. It's been wild.
And the white police officer, whom they called Blackie, because he always messed around with them, snatched him and put him in the backseat of the car for no reason and drove him into the woods and told him he was going to kill him. All because he was black and 10. And that totally transformed my life in my early 20s. I firmly believe in callings and being spiritually called to things in life. And like I said, I'm in my 60s, and what I was called to in my 20s, it may still be a calling at 60, but those change. And I want to be open and aware of that. And this was that.
Welcome to Confronting Whiteness, Testimonies of Transformation, hosted by Reverend Ben Boswell of Charlotte, North Carolina. This podcast shares the stories of real people whose lives have been changed through the Confronting Whiteness journey, a program of spiritual formation and anti-racist practice that helps people racialized as white confront their history, privilege, and responsibility for change. Each episode offers a testimony of transformation, stories of awakening, courage, and hope that remind us what is possible when we engage in this work together. To learn more about the Confronting Whiteness course and community, please visit confrontingwhiteness.com. And now, here's this week's conversation. Down by the river, dip your cup with your spirits low. Clap your hands down.
What's up, everybody? I'm excited to have you here for another edition of the Confronting Whiteness podcast, Testimonies of Transformation. I'm here with Kim Bohannon, who we call Kimbo. And I'm super excited to have Kimbo here. Kimbo devoted 27 years to education, with 20 of those spent shaping young minds at Barnum School in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Teaching was not just a career for Kimbo, but a calling. The students became more than pupils for her. They became family. This deep connection fueled the creation of Buddy Mentor in 1994, a program aiming to reach out to those children in a more personal way. Recognizing the profound impact that mentors have in all of our lives, even if they're not defined as such, Kimbo sought to create a structured support system for her students and all students. Buddy Mentor was undoubtedly have made a lasting difference, not just in the lives of countless children, but also in her own. In 2020, after a year of personal work in anti-racism, the horrific event of George Floyd's murder occurred, and Kimbo stumbled upon Confronting Whiteness, and she says it changed her life forever. After taking the course, the spiritual transformation called Kim to begin facilitating Confronting Whiteness studies with her friends and family. Presently, after 9 facilitations, she continues to be moved and spiritually challenged to make a difference within her sphere of influence. Though retired from the classroom, Kimbo continues to work part-time. She remains actively involved in the community, serving on the Buddy Mentor board, volunteering at church, and carving out time for passions like working out and cycling. In 2014, Kimbo brought her dedication full circle by establishing a branch of Buddy Mentor in their new home of Charlotte, North Carolina. She also continues to work with Confronting Whiteness, leading and facilitating courses. Kimbo, thanks for being here on the podcast. Good to have you.
Ben, I'm very honored and very humbled, so thank you so very much. So very much.
So good to be here with you. We always begin in the same place with everybody, and it's kind of like our homage to Krista Tippett and On Being, to go back to the beginning and invite you to talk a little bit about your religious background and racial formation in your childhood.
Yeah. So I was raised, I'm the oldest of 3. Mom and dad, deeply spiritual. Grandparents, very spiritual. I was raised in a very, very conservative, legalistic home. Christianity just involved a lot of legalism. So very much raised with don't drink, don't dance, don't smoke, no mixed bathing.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't going to shower with somebody. I was going to go swimming with them, but we couldn't do that.
Oh,
either.
wow.
So, and I actually even went to a Christian college where these rules still applied. So that was kind of my historical background until my honestly late 20s,
Mm,
when I moved back northeast again, and became part of a church community um, that began to empower women, which was important to me. That I was egalitarian and had no more rules based on me as a female.
mm,
Um, but in regards to that racial history, I was in a high school in Connecticut where it was largely white, pretty much all homogenized, all white, and very few BIPOC. And those that were there were part of a program called ABC, which meant a better chance.
mm,
And they were from the New York City area. And unfortunately, the BIPOC consisted of maybe 10 or 15 people out of 1,500
mm,
in my graduating class. Um, so I wasn't really around a lot of individuals that were black, brown, or different than me until I met my friend Laconia at 16. And Laconia completely transformed my life. He's still one of my best friends. I'm 63 now, and Laconia and I are still in touch. He's still one of my best friends. And I just unfortunately had the assumption as a white person that everybody's experience was the same. Laconia's experience was the same as mine growing up. And I found that to be startlingly different when he told me the story
mm,
of him with a police officer when he was 10 or 11 years old. They were sitting on a curb eating a candy bar they bought, and the white police officer, whom they called Blackie, because he always messed around with them, snatched him and put him in the backseat of the car for no reason and drove him into the woods and told him he was going to kill him.
mm.
All because he was black and 10.
Wow.
Um, and that totally transformed my life in my early 20s. I'm embarrassed to say still though, that that didn't transform me enough then, that
Mm,
I still did not understand that his life was so very, very different than mine. I kind of saw that as a one-off
mm,
event. Um, in college, I played basketball and I tried to be friends with a lot of my teammates that were black, and I was shunned, and I never understood why. It was their group of people that were friends and my group of people that were friends. And I never really understood that until literally a few years ago.
mm.
Really delving into how different their experiences were, and that it wasn't about me, it was about them protecting themselves, and they didn't trust me.
Yeah.
Um, and I just assumed it was all the same, until I took Confronting Whiteness.
All right. Well, that brings us full circle. In your bio, it talked about how you had taken a bunch of other anti-racism, maybe journeys or courses or books that you'd
Hmm.
read before Confronting Whiteness.
Yeah.
What else had you done leading up to it, and how did it compare to your experience with Confronting Whiteness?
I was kind of in a silo, honestly, after George Floyd. I think all of us. I mean, that was certainly a catalytic event for me. But
Right.
prior to that, I've been reading like Abram X. Kendi, White Fragility. I mean,
Mm,
garnering what I could from it, listening to some podcasts, Brian Stevenson, watching some movies, but
yeah.
really just kind of isolated, floating, just directionless, honestly. Um, I knew that I wanted to do something, I just didn't know what. And then, believe it or not, a friend of mine said, "Hey, Kimbo, check out this news story." And it was you, Ben, talking about confronting whiteness. And so my friend Lisa and I took Confronting Whiteness for the first time
Yeah.
with a facilitator, and it immediately at the end of it, spiritually transformed me. I'm not going to say it was easy going through it, but it immediately spiritually transformed me. And we talk about, the sphere of influence and what we're going to do in our sphere of influence. I knew immediately that this is it. This is what I've been looking for. I firmly believe in callings and being spiritually called to things in life. And like I said, I'm in my 60s, and what I was called to in my 20s, it may still be a calling at 60, but those change. And I want to
Yeah.
be open and aware of that. And this was that. But it didn't just transform me spiritually, it was emotionally, mentally,
Mm,
um, transformed as well. And in a good way, I can't, this is double negative, but I can't not think about it. I can't not think about it.
mm,
It's just not possible. Um, so I think of a scripture from in Psalms 46:10. It says, "Just be still and know that I am God." And I
Mm,
was still for a long time trying to listen, and this came apart. Um, and then talking about that sphere of influence is I now know something, and I know confronting whiteness,
mm,
and I'm continuing to be on this journey of what it means to be white. But I know something about this now, and if I don't do something about it, it may not happen, at least in my sphere.
right.
Um, so I feel committed and called to that.
You really are able to articulate how profoundly the transformation happened in your life, and I'm wondering what specifically about the course. There's this sort of container led by a trained facilitator and spiritual practices, and then there's the curriculum, and they kind of combine together the curriculum
Mhm.
of films and readings. What were the pieces that really, and you've done this, you've now facilitated it, so you've seen other people go through the same thing. But if you think back to
Mhm.
yourself first, and then what do you think was the thing that was the catalyst for transformation?
Safety. It was safe. I
Okay.
mean, I'm gonna say that again. It was safe. It was safe. It was safe. It was safe to express my feelings. It was safe to share. It was safe to listen. It was safe to learn. It was paced well. Um, I mean, we're white, and
Mhm.
I was learning what it means to be white. I'm going to continue to learn the rest of my life what it means to be white. But it was safe to share in that container that I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes, and I can confess those mistakes and say that when I was in my 20s, I
Mm,
told jokes that were inappropriate. I can say that.
mm,
Um, and people will listen and share with, and there's no judgment. There's time to reflect, do deep reflection. Uh, and we don't know what we don't know.
right.
And that's, and,
Right.
and it becomes quite obvious throughout this course and during this study. But throughout it all, it just continues to remain safe.
Yeah. It feels like the curriculum is pretty tough, right? And if it wasn't safe, I don't think people could get through the curriculum
Yeah.
because it really beats you. It really, and beats you up's not the right word. It really exposes whiteness for
Yes.
what it is, and it
Yeah.
exposes our continued participation in it. And um, was there a particular film or reading that first time through that really just nailed you to the wall and made you like, oh my God?
Um, yeah, all of it. Next question. So, yeah. No, I am serious though. All of it, like, all of it. But yeah, for me, um, it was all impactful and it was all a struggle. But I'm all about the struggle. I want to struggle because that's how we
Mhm.
grow and that's how we learn. Um, but for me, whiteness is power
Mm,
it was a big one for me. Ava DuVernay,
yeah.
her movie When They See Us
Oh,
was sobering, and I mean, there's 5 episodes. We only watched one, but I had to stop in the middle of it because it was just so sobering, the awfulness of what whiteness was doing. Um,
yeah. I had that
that
same experience when I watched that the first time.
Yeah,
At 20 minutes in, I was so angry. I
yeah,
had to pause it and walk around the house.
yeah.
And I had like waited for it to drop. I knew what day it was going to drop. I was so excited to watch it. I thought it was going to be like this easy experience. And
Nope.
20 minutes in, I was so angry at that DA and
Yes,
the way the officers were treating the kids. And
officers.
oh my God, it was so painful.
Yes, and even the parents saying, just say you did it and we'll go home.
Right. Yeah. Just
And
lie
you're
so
not
you
going
know it.
home. And we're
No,
not going home. And that was their experience, was just say it and we'll go home.
I know.
Um, and that was just so hard. And the other one was Whiteness is Evil, with a lot of Malcolm X,
Hmm.
and his letter to Mecca. Malcolm X in my upbringing was just always evil.
Right.
And I love Malcolm X now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's his life experience, and he was protecting himself. And then after going to Mecca, and his letter to Mecca was beautiful. It was such a beautiful story. Um, that whole thing about going to Mecca, and then just anything with James Baldwin. I'm
Yeah.
such a huge James
Right.
Baldwin fan. I
Right.
mean, and I'm ashamed to say that whatever age I was, how many years ago, 50, late 50s, I had never read James Baldwin. And I'm ashamed because, I mean, he's so profound. And I just want to like just put a vacuum cleaner, just suck all of James Baldwin in, and just
Me too.
live it.
I hear you. Like you don't know how many people tell me, and I'm sure you've seen this too, that they never read Baldwin at all, anything of Baldwin when they take the course for the first time. Maybe they heard of him, but it's a shame. I had a lot of people that take this course have many, many degrees. I have a lot of degrees. I never read Baldwin I had never had Baldwin assigned in any college course, seminary course, anything. And I think it's just a shame, but it shows you that it's being intentionally isolated from the curriculum for some reason because students, will be so transformed by it. But now I hope that Baldwin is coming a little bit more mainstream,
Yeah. And that's so insightful that you're saying that, and Baldwin is just so rich. I mean, how can you not, when you say white people are trapped in a history that we do not understand, and until we understand it, we cannot be released from it. I mean, that honestly, that is right here in me. It is right here in me. And I will never forget that quote.
Yeah.
And I hope not to forever be trapped, but I might be unless I live to be 198.
Right. And like the whole point of trying to get out of the trap is just the constant work of understanding, which I think is part of what the course offers us is this journey of like, oh no, I'm going to be on a lifelong, if I'm racialized as white, I'm going to be on a lifelong journey of trying to understand what I'm trapped in here. I love that you brought up Baldwin. When you talk about Baldwin, one of the things I love about Baldwin is how powerfully that he charges our emotions. He gets our emotions. He sort of puts up one hand and like, this is the mirror. And then the other hand, he has an invitation. Come on with me in this journey. Yes. Besides just Baldwin itself, what were some of the emotions? One of the things I've learned about the Confronting Whiteness is that it's like an emotional intelligence amplifier for people who are going through the course because it forces them to wrestle with their feelings a lot of throughout the journey. So what were some of the big emotions that came up for you?
That's really funny because it's like you put it on a spectrum of emotions, and it's all over that spectrum. At the beginning, I was excited. Oh, I'm excited! Yay! I'm gonna take this course. I'm gonna learn what it means to be white. I'm gonna be an anti-racist, and then I'll just be done with it and move on. And that's not how it works. So I was excited, and then you enter into an awareness. I don't know if that's a feeling or an emotion, but for me, it was sadness, despair, enlightenment, hope, challenged. But for me too, like I don't know if it's emotion, but my now what?
Right.
And now what? But their emotions are all over the place. Angry is definitely in there. A lot of anger of what we have done, us white folks, purposefully on some levels, and still are doing. Angry. But spare is gone. I'm not going to spare. I am strongly leaning into hope, even with our country, to bring up that. But that's another for another day. But I'm
we
going
could
to keep
spend a whole other podcast on that.
But I'm just going to keep leaning into hope.
One of the emotions, a couple of emotions I didn't hear you say were like, overwhelming guilt, condemnation, judgment. Why do you think those emotions, which are often associated with anti-racist work by white folks, why do you think those emotions aren't the ones that came out for you as you've done this, both as a participant and a facilitator?
That's a really good question. And as I think that through, I think a lot of it may be Christian faith, and forgiveness. And forgiveness, it's important to forgive others, but it's important for me to forgive myself.
Right.
And I mentioned, like, back in my 20s, telling jokes that were very inappropriate. I still, I'm aware that I did that, but I need to forgive myself from that. And I said earlier, like, I did what I did, and we don't know what we don't know. And now all I can do is know better, do better. Maya
Right.
Angelou.
Yeah.
And if I carry guilt around and shame around, then that does not help me be productive
Hmm.
going forward in my sphere and in my growth as an anti-racist, and in my growth as a Christian on my Christian spiritual journey.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that the way that the course is structured, or just sort of the way that you said safety earlier, do you think the safety that it
Hmm.
provides, it
Hmm.
helps people avoid getting trapped in guilt and shame?
I mean, for me, yes. For me,
Okay.
yes. And as I facilitate, I try to create that container as well, because I do know it comes up for folks.
Hmm.
And that's, um, and part of it's like, that happened way back then. My grandparents did that. I didn't do that. Well, I still have a role, right? Um, and I don't want to be guilty about it, but I do need to do something about it,
Hmm.
and be proactive about it. And if I falter and I step, that's part of the confessional piece in
Right.
Confronting Whiteness too, is we have that confessional piece that provides safety and no judgment and
Yeah.
acceptance and forgiveness and love in it. And I need to honor that in my own life as well,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And you've facilitated the course like 9 times now, and you've been through it yourself. Um, if you had to define whiteness now in your own words, like somebody comes up like, "Oh, you participate in this thing, confronting whiteness. What's so bad about whiteness? What's the big deal? Why are you involved in that? What is whiteness anyway?" How would you?
Yeah, this is a hard one because there's so many ways
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can define this. And I actually did have to write this down because there's so many and I didn't want to leave any of them out.
Okay.
So I apologize. I have just written down, but so trying to define whiteness, yeah. So I'm just gonna put you now. I'm gonna say it steals. It steals not from
Mm,
me, but it steals from everybody. It steals from BIPOC as well.
mm,
It steals from everybody. Whiteness is a lie.
mhm,
It's a straight up lie. It's a long held power. I
mhm.
mean, it's largely about power. Whiteness is evil. It dehumanizes people. It dehumanizes me. It's just
Yeah.
not dehumanizing. It dehumanizes me. It's something that's all. Uh, it's me choosing my comfort over others. It's ignorance. It's a constructed system,
Mm,
um, to obtain power and dominance. And largely, I feel like our government has done that for hundreds of years to remain in power. It strips others of honor, of safety, power, and recognition. Sorry, I know this is a lot.
no, it's good.
Um,
Keep going.
Whiteness is power without moral or ethical basis.
Ooh, yeah.
Um, and it benefits only white people. Whiteness benefits only white people. And I renounce it.
Mm,
I renounce whiteness.
wow. That was strong. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's a lot, but
No, no, no. But you covered the territory of, and I think that's what you've discovered is the it seems like that's the thing that's such a watershed moment for so many when they go through the course early on. We've talked about this before. It's sort of like people so overly identify with their whiteness that they can't separate themselves from the construct.
mm,
But somehow, even with the course being as difficult as it is as points, early on, they're able to start to see the distinction between their individual identity and this construct that we're trapped in.
mhm,
And so some people feel like this feeling of liberation early on. They're like, whoa,
mm,
whoa, there's this there's this thing out there. That's what gave me this identity. It's not just me. I wasn't just, this isn't biological. This isn't, natural. This isn't hereditary. This is just a lie that we're trapped in. And there's some freedom in that, I think, for some folks as they begin
mhm,
to see whiteness as an ideology and
mhm.
not as a skin color or biology. Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I liberating is a good word.
Yeah.
It's not something I have to hold on to anymore. I can let it go.
Yeah. Right. You don't have to defend it anymore.
Mm-mm.
You can turn against it like you are with the renunciation, which is really powerful.
Yes.
Um, You've talked about how you've changed and how much the course has transformed you. Help me understand what that means. I mean, obviously it's called you into a new way of living, it feels like, but and obviously to facilitate courses. But if you had to mark the change and describe the change and the transformation that occurred, what is it in your life that's changed?
Yeah. So yes, definitely a spiritual transformation. I took a study over 20 years ago, uh, essentially learning to live the life of Jesus. And it was focusing on a lot of the qualities of Jesus: empathy, compassion, service, forgiveness. And each study was about 6 weeks long. And that was my first like big transformative moment spiritually. And I was probably in my early 30s then.
Yeah.
And so now, being 60 something, this one is again spiritually transformed me. But to me, it's given me spiritual direction. It's given me a calling, and it's given me a mission about something that I want to be a change agent about. I want to be an ally. I want to be a co-conspirator. And those may be all new words. I mean,
Yeah.
for some people, but I feel called to facilitate. I want to keep doing this. And this is my calling, my mission, and essentially for the rest of my life. My family has a long history of living until the late 90s, so hopefully I've got another 30 years of this.
All right. Well, watch out, Satan. Kimbo's coming. 30 more years. I love it. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot with Confronting Whiteness and our experiences is how each of us kind of brings our own journey to it. And you talked a little bit about your journey. And I was just thinking, like, in your background and your history and what you experienced growing up, both religiously and also in some of your racial history, you also have your own journey with regard to, your sexuality, not to put you on the spot, but I felt like a lot of folks sometimes in the LGBTQ community sort of identify their experience of oppression as the same as as Black folks and brown folks in America, and say, hey, what I experienced was oppression too, so I know what you're experiencing, and they're the same in some ways, but you seem to have navigated that very differently. How do you think about your identity in relationship and what you experienced from that sort of rigid religious upbringing that was constrictive, and how that relates to or doesn't relate to the experience of BIPOC people in America?
That's a great question, and I haven't thought about that before. And no, you're not putting me on the spot with that at all. Yes, I'm part of the LGBTQ family, and yes, I'm married to my wife Ginger, 15 years now, and
Amazing.
yeah, and coming out of a conservative background and realizing in my 20s that I was gay, um, and really struggling with that for 20 years with my spirituality, because I was told that I was just flat out going to hell and not accepted. So I stayed silent,
Right.
and quote tried to change and tried to do quote the right thing, and that just never quite worked out.
Right.
And then finally just live it secretively until I finally came out in my early 30s. But that is very different than BIPOC, because guess what? I'm white. I'm a female, and I can hide that I'm gay. I can hide it.
Right.
I can hide that. When you're BIPOC, you can't hide that.
Yeah.
You
You
can't
can
hide
go
that.
into a store and nobody knows.
Nobody knows anything. They
Yeah.
may make their assumptions, but you don't know anything about me unless I flat out say that I am part of that community.
Right.
And there is a movie that goes way back, many many years ago, with James Earl Jones, and I don't remember the other character, but he needed a scholarship to go to college, so he did blackface and went to college on a scholarship, and was quite successful in school. Matthew Broderick played the character, actually, And James Earl Jones said to him when they finally caught him, what he was doing, because he needed the money to go to school. He said, "Yeah." James Earl Jones said, "What have you learned from this experience?" And his response was, "I know what it's like to be black now." And James Earl Jones said to him, "Dude, we'll never know what it's like to be black because you know that you were always white."
Yeah.
So
And you can
yeah,
take off that paint anytime.
you can take that pain off, and that was quite the message, So I can hide the fact if I need to that I'm LGBTQ.
Right.
And I did for a number of years just because I did not want to be ostracized from my church faith community,
Right.
which now is fully inclusive, actually, in Connecticut, where I came from.
Wow.
Fully inclusive, which is great now.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so no, my story is very, very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not 400 years long of continual systemic oppression.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think it's important to recognize that. I mean, it certainly isn't, it's the oppression that you experienced isn't something that's not important to wrestle with and claim, and try to change society around. And a lot of change has happened around LGBTQ. I mean, there's still obviously a lot of people trying to turn the clock back, right, in America today. So we have to stay vigilant, but it's not at all the same as the struggle of BIPOC folks. And
no,
it's really important for us to recognize, not that we're playing the oppression Olympics here, but that
no.
the struggles are different, right? And I just impressed by the way you found yourself into this work. And that's never really been a question for you, like,
No,
yeah, it's amazing.
I know.
One of the things that we ask the participants at the end of each, course is, what are they going to do with this in their sphere of power and influence? And sometimes they don't even know they have power or a sphere of influence. So we have to coach them a little bit through that. What do you think the course and your facilitation of it how has it impacted your sphere of power and influence?
Well, we all have a sphere. We all do.
Yeah.
And it's just recognizing what exactly that may encompass. And sometimes, you're a stay-at-home mom. You still have a power of sphere and influence.
Right.
We all have one. It's finding out and identifying that. So, for me now, I now have knowledge. I have knowledge, and as being a spiritually challenged individual, I want to say that I need to do something with that knowledge. So for me, it goes back again. I mentioned it earlier, but my minister back in Connecticut before I moved to Charlotte many years ago said, "What do I know something about? That if I don't take responsibility for it, it may not happen." Well, I now know something about this. I know something about this, and within my power and my sphere, that calls me to do something about this.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, then who else is going in my sphere? Nobody is. It's got to be me. It's got to be me. So there's still so much I have to do. Like I said, this is a lifelong journey.
Right.
It's a lifelong journey. So I still have growth to learn. I need to be brave. I need to be courageous. I've got to show up. I got to show up daily. I need to forgive myself when I don't. When I'm not brave and I'm not courageous. I got to keep studying. I've got to keep learning. I've got to keep facilitating, which I'm going to keep doing. And it's not easy, but it's necessary and it's a must. And I think of our BIPOC and we take confronting whiteness and we have those despairing moments, which happens as part of the study. And thanks to you that you create that. Because, I'm not certain who said it, but when we're despairing, that moment of despair is nothing like my BIPOC goes through daily for their lives. And if I can't do this, then who's going to do it for them?
Yeah.
There's a quote from the Imitation Games. I don't know if you know it, but there's this quote. It says, "Sometimes it's the very people who no one imagines anything of, who do the things no one can imagine." And I want to be that person, not just in confronting whiteness, but whatever God wants to put in front of me. But I want to be that person, and then for me too, it's not just It is confronting whiteness. It's our cultural times too, but Esther 4:14,
Yeah.
if of course remain silent at such a time as this.
Right.
Uh, I cannot remain silent. I have this information and I cannot remain silent. Because what does it mean if I remain silent?
Yeah. No,
You
exactly.
know, I mean, I'm gonna have to wrestle with God on that one, and
Well,
I'm afraid I'll lose.
yeah, probably.
So,
You've really done an amazing job, tremendous job of connecting to your sphere with what you've learned. You've tapped these pockets. Can you tell me a little bit more? So you've tapped this Connecticut pocket of friends,
mm,
and you've tapped your Caldwell. You've led a bunch of Caldwell Presbyterian folks through this.
mhm.
What are there other pockets that I'm missing of friends that you've led through?
um, so being originally from Connecticut for 40 years, I was in a very, very diverse church up there. It was small, 125 people, but it was extremely diverse. I mean, we're
Mm,
talking Jamaica, Haiti, Africa, diverse, Italian, you name it. We had it. It was pretty fascinating and very open-minded. So my first thought was to reach out to them,
mhm.
and a number of individuals from there took it. Believe it or not, I'm very proud of my parents. In their 80s, they took Confronting Whiteness, and
Wow,
they live in Texas. And then they told it to some of their friends, and some of their friends from Texas took the course.
it's amazing.
The church in Connecticut is about 40 minutes from New York City, so it's very transitional. We have people that live there for 3 or 4 years, commuting to and from New York, then they up and move. So people from Colorado and
Mm,
California that used
mhm.
to live in Connecticut have taken this course.
Wow.
And then my Caldwell community, just reaching out to people that I knew are very much wanting to be on this journey. Some of them took it too, and I've still got a list of 30 or so from there. And then, of course, meet new friends and like, hey, I got a great course you might be interested in. um,
Amazing. It
so
really is
yeah,
amazing. You're like a nationwide facilitator on this, tapping people
well,
all over from coast to coast. So,
not like you, and not like Africa yet,
yeah,
but
well,
I can try.
I'm just impressed, and I think it's been amazing the people that you facilitated. And the other thing that I just thought has been such a beautiful innovation that you brought to the work was the continued reunion. I don't know if you call
Mm,
it reunions, where you get together with the people that you've been through the course with again and
yeah,
again. Like
yeah.
is it quarterly or
Pretty much
monthly?
quarterly, yeah, every
Yeah.
3 months.
And how many of those are you doing now of groups, that previous groups?
I wish I'd have started it with that first one, and I didn't
Okay.
really think about it. But there's five out of the 9 groups are still meeting.
You're still meeting with them on a
Are
regular.
still meeting. Yeah, we meet pretty much every 3 to 4 months.
And what are those
Um, with them.
conversations like? Is it just catch up with life, or is it
Yeah,
pretty white?
it's catching up with our journeys. It
Okay.
can be confessional at times. It could be this is what I'm doing with this work right now.
Mhm.
Um, and believe it or not, I'm going to send you this email. Some woman from Texas that took this course, she's blowing up on TikTok right now.
What?
With anti-racism work in Tarrant County, and they're calling her the national Meemaw.
I love this. You got to send this to
Yes,
me.
yes, and she thanked myself and the other two and the other people in the course and you.
Oh my
But she
God.
just sent it to me today.
This
But
is incredible.
stuff like that. I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So the
Wow.
work is going on.
And it's just a testimony that anybody, anywhere, some people ask me, is this course just like for white liberals? And it's like, no,
No,
no, anybody, anywhere of any age. I've seen transformative impact of this on 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, people of
yes,
all different backgrounds from all over. I'm sure you have as well. It's been
yeah.
wild.
Well, my dad being one, he's 88, and
Wow.
he still talks about it.
Really?
He's learned so much. And he's an elder at the church still, and he's gently weaving.
Mm,
Super conservative church, but he's
right.
gently weaving it. So
Amazing. Well, give him my
it
best.
is.
Tell
I
him I'm
will.
thinking about him. Tell him I'm proud of it.
I will. I'm
Kimbo,
proud of him
anything else
too.
you want to share with our folks before we conclude? Thanks so much for your time.
Um, no, thank you, and thank you, Ben, for your work and creating Confronting Whiteness. And anybody that's listening, if you haven't taken it, it's a must. It will be transformative to your life. You will not be disappointed. It will forever change your journey. If you want to be challenged, then don't take it. If you don't want to be transformed, then don't take it.
Right.
But um, you will make a difference in the world. So please do.
Awesome.
Please do.
One
And
last
thank you,
question.
Ben.
I know you've
Yeah.
read and watched some stuff since the course that you thought this probably should be in the course. Is there anything that you've read or watched since you've taken the course or been facilitating that you're like, we got to recommend this to people?
American Son.
Yeah, that was
is one of the movies. American Son is one. And yes, I have others, but I don't have my notes in front of me. But yes, there's another movie out there that oh, doggone it. Oh, it's on that one's on Ginger. I'll have to send it to you, Ben.
okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's another one. Taj. She's a mother, and she doesn't have any money, and she robs a bank
Oh,
to get
Taraji
money.
P. Henson.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen that one. Woo.
Yeah,
That
that's
one's
another one.
tough too. That one's tough.
That's another one. I don't
Yeah.
remember the name of it. It's like Frantic or something, but
Yeah, she's like
I think it's
desperate at the end of her rope. Yeah.
yes, it's a Jordan Peele movie. I think it's another one of his.
So good. Yeah.
Yes, it's a fantastic one as well. Yes. So, buddy, thank you.
Kimbo, thank you so much for spending some time with us. So thank you for being on the podcast. We
Yeah,
really appreciate it. Keep up the
yeah,
great
I
work.
welcome. And I don't mean to say to people, if you don't want to be challenged, yes, you want to be challenged. Take it. Take it, please.
That's a good word. Take the course, everybody.
Take
Thanks
it.
so much,
Take
Kimbo.
it. Take it. All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Unreroute the rivers. Let the dam.
Thank you for listening to Confronting Whiteness, Testimonies of Transformation with Reverend Ben Boswell. We invite you to learn more about the course and the community by visiting confrontingwhiteness.com. There you can explore resources, register for a group, and find ways to deepen your own journey. We also encourage you to get involved, nominate someone or even yourself to share a testimony on this podcast or sign up to volunteer. If you are a past participant, consider becoming a group facilitator. Together we can cultivate courage, hope, and transformation.
The water won't even make mud. Now after it comes, it might come with a steady flow. Grab the roots of the tree down by the river. Dip your cup when your spirit's low. Clap your hands now.